I made my decision to go into SEA because I had a pretty good understanding of what the social work employment landscape was looking like at that time. Increasingly, professional social workers are assuming senior leadership roles in the human service sector. We're moving more and more away from the traditional conception of social worker as clinician. And the SEA education really gives you the appropriate mix of policy, human relations theory. Clinical background is there. However, you really get that finance, you get the human resources, you get the sort of skills necessary to run a large human service agency in New York City. When I started my first year at CUSSW, I was coming in with a master's in public administration. And I pursued the MSW with the SEA focus to supplement what the MPA did not provide, that human value base, the values of social work. Are not present. They're absent entirely in sort of a mainline public administration or business education setting. So when I arrived at CUSSW, I knew I wanted to pursue that to supplement the skill set I had already gotten through my other professional activities and through the prior education I had received. A lot of the concrete skills I picked up as a student at CUSSW in the SEA method are used each and every day in my workplace. How to relate to people, how to understand a human service agency within the context of the greater policy arena, what it takes to get good, solid funding, an understanding of finance, accounting, an understanding of human resource management, an understanding of basic administration skills. These are things that you get in the SEA method, flavored by the overall context of social work, the values that drive the profession. So you're able to function as an effective administrator, yet understand the core values of social work and apply them in a meaningful way. The marketplace is absolutely competitive, and you will find yourself as an SEA grad up against folks with other types of master's degrees with different focus. But the MPA will give you sort of the core finance, core administration without that human factor. And I think the SEA MSW really gives you an edge in that regard. My trajectory was an interesting one after I graduated. I landed at New York City's trade organization for mental health providers, doing a lot of policy work, advocacy work, but at the same time, I had very regular contact with executive leadership across the many, many New York City human service providers, about 125 of them. And the SEA training really gives you the cachet and the fluency in the terms and activities that senior managers, executives partake in each and every day. So upon graduation, I landed at the trade organization directing a lot of consultation, program improvement, various different interventions designed to make human service providers more effective in New York City. Subsequently, I came to an agency named Services for the Underserved, where I serve as Director of Research and Development. And in my role, I oversee a lot of program change, implementation of new initiatives. I oversee a number of grant-funded projects and programs, and pursuing additional funding and negotiating with our various revenue streams and contracts and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So there's quite a lot of business activity going on. And I used the term agency before. I think increasingly, human service providers are behaving more and more like companies. You know, we certainly operate in many ways, you know, as non-traditionally, I would say. We understand the corporate side, but at the same time, we understand the human side. And I think that's what the SEA training is all about, marrying those two different angles. How to operate in a demanding corporate environment, yet at the same time, retaining the human factor, and, you know, as sort of the impetus behind what it is you do each and every day. Even though you're going to leave CUSSW with your MSW with an SEA focus, there are going to be a number of skills that you'll need to further refine in the workplace, depending upon the workplace you ultimately arrive at. If you opt to pursue a more corporate setting, if you opt to pursue a more traditional social work setting, you're going to have to realize that your skill set is always evolving and growing. But you'll have a foundation in your education and training at CUSSW in things like effective communication, how to navigate complex organizations, how to understand the fiscal thinking that drives many decisions in today's provider community, human services. But at the same time, you'll have a good foundation, but you'll need to really learn how to effectively communicate more fully, be an active listener. Those are some of the skills that I think we all refine going forward, but your foundation will be very good because you'll be cued into the things that executives are thinking about each and every day, beyond the clinical competencies that one might gain in other methods, which are absolutely valuable. But the changing face of social work is such that people with MSWs, particularly with the SEA focus, are going to find themselves in leadership roles. Being a great clinician is great, but being a great clinician doesn't make you a great organizational leader. You know, we're more and more social workers looking to apply its unique skills and capabilities to non-traditional settings, the settings that are not typically associated where social workers are employed. You know, the world of work will offer many, many different opportunities to the SEA grad. The world of mental health will offer a lot of opportunity to the SEA grad. But our Fortune 100 companies are also increasingly considering the skills that make social workers extremely competent. The ability to actively listen, the ability to understand complex situations, the ability to understand person and environment is transferable to many, many settings beyond those most traditionally associated with social work today. So I would encourage the SEA student to keep the wide world in mind and not be self-limited by what you may have heard as, you know, where a social worker typically works. I think the SEA grad has many, many options as to how to apply that unique blend of really business education, social work values, and the ability to understand human behavior. Those are very transferable, and you need not restrict yourself to what one might consider to be a very traditional agency-based setting. To the second-year student who's chosen SEA as his or her track for the future, I would encourage you to make the most out of your second-year field placement. That is going to set the stage for the jump to your full-time career post-graduation. Maximize your contacts, maximize your experience, and leverage the skills you've gained and market them effectively to the wide array of prospective employers, whether they be in traditional social work settings where human services are provided or whether it be a Fortune 100 company. Really maximize that experience and use your field advisor, your field instructor, to help you move forward in your career and build that relationship. Make the most of it. Learn what you can learn. Cover the wide array of opportunities that that agency or corporation has to offer you.